Hello, good morning, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Section 5 RAG course Intro to AI for Beginners and Freshers. Let's get started. Why AI does not know your stuff? An LLM, large language model, only knows what was in its training data. It knows Wikipedia but not your company's leave or your personal details. No yesterday news. It cannot see your private documents. It will guess. Ask it about your own data, it will guess or make something it up. The real question, so how do we teach an AI what it was never trained on? RAG, the open book versus closed book. RAG stands for Retrieval-Augmented Generation, is the process of optimizing the output of a large language model LLM so it is referenced an authoritative knowledge base outside of its training data. So generally what happens is all the LLMs are trained on public data that is available on Wikipedia and public forums. They have some relationships with the company. Let's take ChatGPT. Will have a relationship with X or Twitter or Reddit. They buy the data and they train LLM or the ChatGPT model on that. But what happens if you have some personal notes or diaries, that information, if you want to ask a question, given you saw the power of AI, it can respond back like a human. So how do you train yourself the LLM? So what you do is we follow the process of RAG, retrieval augmented generation. It's not really difficult. What we are trying to say is here it's pretty straightforward, right? Closed book versus open book. Answers from memory alone. The AI relies only on what it was trained on and may guess when it does not know. So for your personal information, it may not know, so it may be guessing. So what we will do is RAG turns the closed book test into a open book one, answers the grounded material with real documents. So what you can try is to the ChatGPT, you just write a poem or some story and upload that to the ChatGPT and now ask the question. Ask the ChatGPT to refer your document and answer the question. It can do it pretty clearly. So that is your private documentation. In the big companies, organizations, what happens is they will have so much of data, right? Yeah, they have HR interview process. Once you get a job, you are working, the leave policies, all those things will be company specific. So the companies can train these LLMs based on their own data also. So now you see the opportunity for the AI, right? Every company can have their own HR department because their HR policies are different, right? Their salaries are different, their interview process is different. So this RAG really helps to train this LLM with the private data. Let's move on. How RAG works step by step. You ask a question, your question goes into the system, search your documents, whatever you gave the documents are uploaded to the documents. Passages are added, those passages are quietly added to your question. LLM answers with the sources. So when this AI agent or LLM answers, it answers with the references. How the search finds the right text? That's a very good question, right? When you enter the information, already LLMs AI will have so much of data. How does it find your stuff, right? Documents are split into small chunks and turned into embeddings, number lists that capture the meaning. Vector databases, similar meanings become familiar numbers stored in vector database. So this RAG uses vector database behind the scenes, this LLM, so that it becomes easy for it to search and answer the question. So your question is turned into numbers the same way. The closest match wins. So to simply say that this RAG, when you upload the information, this LLM creates its own database with the information that you provided along with its LLM, and it quickly searches through, right? Assume that you provided a file and already all these files have been trained by LLM, and if your search, when you enter the prompt, it goes here and it tries to find your material also in the data train. Why enterprises love RAG? company data stays in company's control. So if you go and ask what is today's salary of a company that you are applying for in the ChatGPT, it can just give the information it was trained on, what was available, but it will not have the latest company specific data, right? So if we want specific data, then these companies will use their own internal AI to train that. Always current. Answers stay current because the documents can update anytime. No expensive retraining. It's not required to retrain this LLM, using a lot of compute or data structures like what we discussed in previous sections. Sources will trust. Sources can show answers are checkable. When you upload some documents to ChatGPT and ask a question, ask it to refer which document it will refer so that you can build the trust and it is not hallucinating or guessing. Already everywhere, most enterprise chatbots and copilots you will meet are RAG systems. So that is the reason RAG is very important. Where RAG can struggle. Wrong passages. If the wrong passages are retrieved, the answer will be wrong too. Messy documents. Outdated or poorly organized documents lead to poor answers. Very large document sets need useful chunking and good search tuning. What happens is instead of uploading 5 documents each with 1 MB, if you try to upload one file with 10 MB or 20 MB, there you can see the performance difference. Still can misread. It can still misread passages, which is why sources are there to check. So when you get a response, if you ask one more time, 2 more times, then it becomes easy to get the response. Garbage in still applies. Garbage in, garbage out capabilities. Once you give the good document, you'll get the good result. What is fine-tuning? Back to school. Fine-tuning retains the model itself on your own examples. It changes how the model behaves. Fixed style or skills. Great for the consistent tone, format, specialized repeated skills. No documents are fetched at answer time. The behavior is internal. Takes longer and needs quality training examples. So if you have a lot of documents, let's say 1,000, 10,000 documents, you need to train this, and instead of just uploading and asking a couple of questions, if you have more documents, then you need to train. There is a cost involved for RAG also. RAG versus fine-tuning at a glance. RAG, what info should the AI use? Fine-tuning answers how should AI behave, which one when. So when to use RAG and when to use the fine-tuning. Just prompt with the info pasted in, quick one-time document the change, use RAG. Consistent specialized behavior, consider fine-tuning for tone. So let's say if you want to browse through some 1,000 documents and get your own personal private documents, then it's better to use the fine-tuning. If you are just uploading 1 or 2 documents, use the RAG. Real systems combine. Many systems use prompting, RAG, fine-tuning together. Pause and try. Imagine chatbots for your personal things and try it out. Write your answer in 1 or 2 sentences before the next slide so that it becomes easy for you. Take it as an exercise and try it. Career tip: understanding the RAG is one of the most valuable enterprise AI skill today you have. And RAG is the open book exam. Fine tuning is going back to school, means relearning and giving more data to understand. Now the key takeaways for the section 5. LLMs only know the training data. RAG, retrieval augmented generation, looks things up before answering. RAG turns a closed book test into an open book exam with sources. Fine tuning changes how the model behaves, style, skill, tone. Simple rule: RAG for knowledge that change, fine tuning for behavior. Thanks for tuning in. Looking forward to see you in my next section 6. Bye for now.